So nowadays, a lot of stuff is single player and a lot of stuff is play it online. In terms of sports games, you have Madden that people play online a good bit. You've got College Football 25 that you play online. People have their own, leagues that they do or fantasy stuff that they do on there. But back in the day, man, like we used to sit down with our friends and play games together in the same room, on the same couch, on the floor, whatever you would, like whether it was, playing NFL Blitz or playing, World Series baseball or NHL hits or NHL hockey or whatever you were playing, whether, you could be playing Contra, you could be playing Mario, GoldenEye. Sitting down to play a game with friends in the same room is so much more fun than doing it online. Because you can feed off each other. When you hang out with somebody, it's just a much better experience. It does something for you mentally that just makes you happier and is more rewarding. And we don't get that anymore.
I don't know. I mean, I think COVID had a lot to do with it when it was like, we're better off if we don't intermix, just so that way we don't continually propagate whatever the hell that was. Because granted, I mean, like there were definitely a lot of people dying in a few places.
Mm-hmm.
But I think somewhere over, I guess, the advent of technology, we've forgotten that there's this energy that we don't understand and we can't describe. I mean, we can, I shouldn't say we can't describe it, we can't explain it. But there's just a different aspect to being in the presence of another living, breathing, conscious entity.
Yeah.
I mean, most of you probably have dogs. Why? Because of that feeling, because of that energy, because there's something different about when your dog does something funny and you laugh at them, or when they do something cute and they're there with you, like, would you have a dog if you just had to Zoom with it to see it?
Exactly,
I mean, no, you wouldn't. So why are you trying to create lives around being isolated and, I see you, or talk to you on the phone, or I can text you, or I can do this, but you're not actually taking the time to come together and be with one another. Like, we all get so caught up. I don't know how many people I've heard in the past month say, oh, I can't stand people. Oh, I love, I don't want to be around people anymore. Well, maybe you're just around the wrong people.
Yeah, like, when everybody was locked down and isolated and just, like, forced to stay home, I had a lot of issue with that I didn't think I would have, because I'm very much a person that can enjoy just being inside doing his own thing, like playing games, watching TV, watching movies, doing whatever. Like, I'm perfectly fine doing that. But when I'm forced to do that and I don't get any other social interaction that isn't my family, that had a profound effect on me.
Yeah.
Like, mentally and emotionally. Like, it was a feeling that I did not think that I would feel. Like, I had some major problems there when I was just at home constantly. And the minute that I was able to go back to my job and, interact with people, all those issues went away.
Yeah, and I mean, so that's a good point. And it surprises you. It's like, even if you're an introvert, maybe you're more adept to just kind of being isolated. You prefer to just kind of like exist in your own space. But the most introverted introverts still have interaction. Like, it's there's a reason solitary confinement is a punishment. And it's a consequence.
Yeah.
Like,
it makes you go insane.
Yeah, well, we recognize that there's a psychological aspect to being isolated, like actually isolated, like truly isolated. And I don't think anyone really understood true isolation because we just took for granted all the interaction that we went through. And, you know, in alignment with that, there's an old saying, it takes a village. And you can apply it to multiple things. I've heard it often applied to raising children. But I've also heard it applied to just life in general, where it's like, even if you're a homestead, you can't be the baker, the butcher, the farmer. And then when you add in like modern society, the source of power, the source of water, the source of, you know, whatever fuel you use at home.
The IT guy.
Exactly. You cannot simply be the Renaissance man and do it all. Even if you were capable, there's not enough time in the day.
Yeah.
So the concept of it takes a village kind of rolls back to that, where it's like, how can you be isolated and alone if it takes a village? And we have proof that, you know, when you adopt it takes a village, you see success. Because, for instance, in like, you know, raising children, your children are exposed to multiple different points of view.
Mm-hmm.
They can then learn how to empathize with those that they don't identify with, and they can pick what they identify with. And I don't mean that in the term, in like that kind of identify. I simply mean like, do I like the color green or do I like the color blue?
Yeah, they become their own person based off of
what they're
the people
exposed
that
to.
they're around. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Like, I mean, my daughter, you know, knew a lot about video games before we started hanging out. Now she knows so much more just from being over here and playing them with your daughter and, you know, hearing us talk about them and all that. And I love that that's kind of instilled in her, because she's getting to a point now where she's like, hey, can I learn how to code? We're working on, you know, learning Java with a program called Alice. And it's like, I'm seeing this shift where she was super hell-bent on being a doctor when she grew up. And now she's like, well, you know, I kind of still want to do that, but maybe I want to do something else. And it's like, this is what's supposed to happen.
Yeah, you pick up interests, like, you know, with friends. You grow up with different people. Like, you know, I had friends when I grew up that were
Bullshit.
skateboarders,
Oh,
but then they were musicians, and, you know, they were into sports, they were into hunting, fishing. So, like, naturally, you know, I was into those things as well, you know, to a degree, but it makes it better when you're sharing an interest with a friend. You know, you have something to talk about and you can nerd out with them and talk to them about it. And like, now just imagine that feeling that you get with a friend. Now imagine a whole community of people that, you know, are, you know, that's why going to sporting events, dude, like, going to a baseball game, you know, to an Orioles game, and, you know, you're on the first baseline, you're there, you're at the park, all the Orioles fans are around you, you all have this one thing that you're rooting for, and you're rooting for that team. And everybody feeds off that. Like, you get amped up. Like, I've never been one to, like, go crazy or anything at, like, a game. But there are moments that happen during that game where everybody reacts and you just jump to react. Like, you're clapping or you're yelling and you're like, whoa, where did that come from?
So, just to kind of jump on that bandwagon real quick, there's an old saying that goes, misery loves company. And that's absolutely true. Like, if you walk into a room and you're pissed off, everybody there is going to know it, and odds are it's going to bring down the mood.
Yeah.
At the same token, happiness is contagious.
Yeah, man. Like, think about when you're at a restaurant and your waiter is just rude to you.
Yep.
Immediately, you're just like, wow,
Yep.
that was awful. Same thing. If your waiter is super on top of everything and is super nice and friendly, you're like, whoa. You never remember the middle of the road servers. You
Exactly.
remember one or the other. It's the same thing, you know. Like, if you give kindness and you're friendly to people when you're out being social, they may not give that back to you, but they'll remember it from you. They'll remember what you gave them.
So the golden rule is not treat other people the way you were treated. It's treat other people the way you want to be treated.
Yeah.
And it's said that way because the whole point is just because somebody's an asshole to you doesn't mean you turn around and like give that back, because if everybody's perpetually an asshole to each other,
We're not getting
wind up
we're
you
not
wind
getting
up in the
anywhere.
garbage.
Yeah.
So at some point somebody has to be the bigger person, another phrase we often heard growing up, and just say, you know what, I get it, you're having a bad day. Let's stop that now.
Yeah.
Let's see what we can do. Let's pick each other up. And, you know, this whole isolation thing kind of goes back to that. I think that as a society, we're starting to forget to think about each other.
100%. And that's where I was getting at, like, with this topic is, you know, you can have this chaos in your life, whether it's working too much or working, you know, too hard because it's, you know, you have deadlines and you're just nose to the grindstone, or, you know, you have a newborn at home and you're trying to figure out the balance between two kids and then living your regular life, like, or, you know, you're dealing with a lot from, you know, family wise or what have you. Like, me, for example, like, I have a fresh kid, like, it's chaos and it's stressful, you know.
Fresh?
So
Fresh meat?
I got, you know, I'm very fortunate. I got to go away for the weekend to hunt for deer season, and I left Friday night and I came home Sunday night. So being around, like, I went and I'm around a bunch of old guys. Like, I'm the youngest guy there by a good margin. But being around a group of guys where literally, like, you know, we're all working together. We all have to eat, so people are going to cook for you. Everybody's pitching in, you know, doing the dishes, drying the dishes, putting them away, you know, prepping lunch, prepping breakfast, making coffee. Somebody, you know, went grocery shopping and brought the groceries, and then at the you know, during the weekend, everybody has to figure out how much do we have in groceries. All right, everybody's pitching in their money for the groceries. Everybody brings stuff, whether it's pretzels, cookies, donuts, whatever. Like, there's no shortage of food there. And then we're there to entertain each other. So we have to, you know, talk and, you know, interact with each other, watch them, figure out what movie we want to watch. Does everybody like this? Does everybody mind if we're playing football or watching football? Or, you know, who wants to go take a walk out around the cabin, or, you know, do something that needs done or whatever. Like, you're around a bunch of people and you're basically like just this little community, and
this is dropping into the gutter slowly but surely.
It's very refreshing, and you'd be surprised at how much that changes the way that you feel.
Can you please just confirm that Sausage Fest was not Brokeback Mountain? Because
No.
I think you described like a broader version of that movie.
No, it's
No,
not.
I'm just kidding. No, and your point, you make a great point. Teamwork, specifically being in person, is huge. Like, the power is.
And it's not even about, you know, teamwork or whatever. It's just about being around people that you enjoy being. Like, I see them 3 to 4 times a year.
Wow, that's a lot.
You know, and I also grew up around them too. So there's that too. Like, I, you know, saw them when I was a kid when my
So they
dad
groomed
was
you.
Yeah.
I got him. I broke him.
So, like, it's refreshing. It will, like, I don't know. I feel like it's something that we've lost and just won't get back.
I don't know if we will or not. I mean, we may. I hope we do. I don't know if we will. I will. In the chat, really? Like, fuck it. The perfect example is I used to have to go to an office and work.
Yeah.
Like for me, for my adaptation of what you just went through. Now we don't. Like, we have those offsites that we do twice a year, where we'll go to some city and spend 2 days in a room, and those are always like, I haven't been to one yet that wasn't enjoyable.
Exactly. Like, it's whether you go to a job that you hate, you have a group of people there, most likely, that you talk to.
Yep.
At least one person.
Yep.
And when you're with that one person at work and you're talking to them, it's nice.
Yeah. Well, no, and
it's something you look forward to. It's something that makes you feel better about being somewhere that you don't want to be. That speaks volumes there just by itself.
Well, yeah, like that's kind of where I was going with it. Was I don't want to do the commute anymore. I'll like, granted,
if I didn't have to commute like I do, it would be fantastic.
Right. So I don't want to do the commute again because that was hell. But if there was a way for me to just like be there for 8 hours and not have to like commute back and forth and have flexibility again, like I do now, if I could have all the benefits of working from home, but work in an office, I love the office. And I never thought I'd say it. I loved being with those people because we would joke about shit. Like, it could be quiet for an hour and somebody would turn around and say something fucking off the wall, and like the whole, group would just crack up laughing.
Yeah.
I'd fall asleep at my cube and people would like take videos of me and shit, and I'd wake up to them in my email. And granted, I was out for like 5 minutes because I have sleep apnea pretty seriously at the time and wasn't treated. And it was like, oh, thanks for the video. You didn't think to like wake me up? And they were like, oh yeah. So next time when they fell asleep, they didn't lock their computer. So that was a pretty interesting wallpaper.
Yeah.
We did that shit. Like, there was a problem in the men's bathroom where guys just weren't hitting the toilet. So I put up a sign that said, hey, Coach Buck Showalter says batters with short bats should stand closer to home plate. And the fucking program manager walked in there and walked out with the sign, and he's like, who's responsible for this? And I'm like, that was me. And he's like, you're probably going to get a raise. Like, I was like, okay, cool. We did shit like that. And
yeah, like, people need it. Whether you think that you don't need it or not, like, you need to be around people.
And you can't recreate it.
No, you can't. Talking to someone on the phone is not enough. Talking to someone on Discord or Zoom is not enough. FaceTime, not enough. Nope. It's never going to be being in the same room with that person. It's just not. Like, I can play. Like, do I have fun playing games online with people? Of course. That's a given. But if I was playing with them in person in the same room,
oh, it'd be so much better.
It's next level.
Real quick, there was another sign. I just have to say, because this one's really good too. It said, this is a men's bathroom, not the YMCA. Therefore, I should not feel like I'm standing in a pool.
That's a good one.
So it's like, I don't know.
We used to have I remember when I was a kid up at the hunting cabin, they had a sign on the old refrigerator, and it said, "This is not Burger King. You can't have it your way. You take what we give you, or you get the fuck out."
I love that.
So I remember like seeing that because it said the F word, and I was like, but yeah, like my wife, she worked from home for a short period of time, and she hated it. She absolutely hated it. Like, there is something, like, as much as I hate the commute and I don't like driving as far as I have to, but there is something about going out of my house, getting into my work van, driving to where I need to go, listening to music, listening to a YouTube video, getting to my destination, getting out, going into people that I see the same day every week, ask them, hey, how's it going? How's the family?
Well, so let me ask you this.
How was your weekend? And like having that, small talk, and then going, putting my headphones in, doing my job, maybe interacting with a couple people that see me, handing my invoices in, and driving home, and then being in for the night.
So when you think about humans, just humans,
Mhm.
just in like you, me, everybody that we know, because I don't think anybody is not human yet, or that I'm aware of. Not necessarily learned behavior, but natural behavior, like just instinctual behavior. What are some of the words that come to your mind to describe just behaviors that are, or feelings that are completely natural, not learned? They just come to you naturally. They just pop up.
Like emotions?
Emotions,
Yeah.
thoughts, like things like that, like, fear. You understand fear. Fear is a
Yeah.
feeling that you just kind of get.
Anxiety.
Yep.
I guess depression would be one too.
Sadness. We'll
Sadness,
make it
depression,
sadness.
yeah. Anger.
Anger is definitely one that comes naturally.
Envy.
Yep.
I'm just gonna start.
We're getting there.
I'm just gonna list
That's what I want you to do.
out emotions.
No, it's fine. And it's not an inside out. It's
disgust?
not an inside out. Disgust. Yeah, I think that's a little more of a higher level one.
Yeah.
This one's foundational. It's one of the things that you notice most in children. It's not an inside out.
I don't know.
Curiosity.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Humans have an innate need to explore.
Yeah.
So getting out of what is your comfort zone, your home.
You hit right there. You hit it. Comfort. We as a society have gotten way, way, way too comfortable.
Well,
Everything that you need for your enjoyment is directly at your fingertips.
yes, but
You can get food. You can get your nourishment from your fingertips.
yeah.
You can get your entertainment
Yep.
at your fingertips.
I mean, I can think of a lot I can get at my fingertips,
Like-
but
There's so much that you can get all within the comfort. You can get everything that you need to survive all in the comfort of your own home.
so here's the thing, though. We can get all of that in the comfort of our own home. Everything we need. The one thing that we aren't or are becoming less comfortable with is ourselves. When
It's
we interact with other people.
It's because, when we were growing up, one of the key things, like with your friend group, like for my example is like we would skateboard together a lot, and one of the big things when you're skateboarding is you're trying to do a trick, you're trying to learn a trick, you're trying to do a trick down something, you're trying to do a trick over something. When you land that trick, you get the confirmation from your friend group, like, dude, that was sick, like, hell yeah. You get hyped up, you get that nice pat on the back, which
the
who-
validation.
who doesn't like that? Who doesn't like validation? Who
Everyone.
doesn't like the attention of hey, I did something good, and people are like, dude, hell yeah. What do you think social media is for? Why do you think everybody posts their entire life and only the good parts, or only the disastrous parts?
Well, yeah.
Because you get attention.
Well, and the other part along with that is, like, I keep going back to this whole concept of FAFO, which is literally how we learned when we were kids. You'd fuck around and you'd find out. And like that lady today, I was explaining to you, I didn't do anything. So all of that articulation right there strictly is just either from her own internal guilt for whatever happened, or just from not being able to handle it. And then, you're going to sit there and do that. That's definitely fuck around, find out. And when I open the car door and my foot hits that ground and you're like, oh shit, he's getting out of the car.
Yeah.
And you bolt, like, I mean, like, you fucked around and you found out that you don't talk to people that way.
And that's something that is lost upon us now, is like everybody's at home and going out less, and like you lose how to interact with people. Like, how many people now are just so socially awkward or uncomfortable being around people because they're not around people enough?
Well, yeah, I mean, like, to your point, when you were sitting there, the story you described to me, same exact situation.
Yeah.
Bolts as soon as there's a confrontation, and it's like, hold up. We didn't, like, this confrontation was created by you.
Yeah, you were the one that started this. And like, I notice it when I'm driving home from work. Like, dude, I had a guy, I'm doing 80 in the left lane, okay?
That's kind of slow.
I'm passing people constantly.
That's the more important part of that, but
This dude passes the guy in the right lane on the shoulder, gets in front of him, hauls ass down 83. There's two cars that are like this. He tries to squeeze between them because he's in that much of a rush, or he has that little little bit of patience. How did we get here? And how do we move forward?
I mean, so like, at some point we have to acknowledge a few key things as a society. I think we have to acknowledge that respect is a big thing. And sometimes respect comes with thinking, not just doing, not reacting. I think that in a lot of ways we had this moment, or these couple years, or this like era where
I truly sorry to interrupt. I truly think a big part of how it became a problem is forcing people to stay home and moving their jobs to their home.
A little bit, yeah. I mean, I could see that being like the more recent articulation of it, but I think it started long before that.
It probably was hinting at that for sure, because technology has advanced, and with that you get a lot more things that you can do from a computer that you weren't able to do before. But even then, like, still you have everybody at home. You're not giving them the choice to go out. You're telling them to not go out.
Well, yeah, at that point
you're instilling fear into these people as well.
Well, fear isn't necessarily a bad thing.
It's not, but when you're using it as a weapon.
So weaponizing fear is definitely different than fear itself. Yeah. I just want to touch on that, like, a long time ago it kind of became, I know we're going to wrap up here shortly.
Yeah.
But the concept of you do you, the concept of self-preservation, self-focus, I feel like that was pushed a little bit hard, because if you push that just too far, it becomes ironically like reminiscent of learned narcissism. And it's like you only have capacity to focus on so many things, and it's like a scale. So if you tilt it too far in that self-preservation sector, you're not thinking about your neighbor. You're not caring for thy neighbor.
You've gone too far into this. Like, it's okay to be selfish sometimes.
Yes.
Like, you have to be, because that's part of surviving. You have to take care of yourself. But you also have to think about, your neighbors, your friends, your family. Like, so many people are cutting off their family for the such small things.
Yeah, and I mean, life is about balance. That's why we have birth and death. That's why we have, wealth and poverty. And, that whole concept of you do you versus, take care of thy neighbor.
Yeah.
I think the biggest thing that comes first is think. Who do I need to take care of with this?
That's the thing that people aren't doing these days either is thinking.
There you go.
Because we have things that now think for us.
Well, no, because it's easier to react.
Well, that too, yeah. And we're just so disconnected from each other.
Mhm.
So I think to pull it all full circle, whether you like it or not, you need social interaction. You need to be around people. Whether that, like, you know, pick up a hobby that you have to be around people to do. Like, get into Magic. Like, get into Magic the Gathering.
You talking to me?
No, I'm not talking to you. I'm talking to the general public that, you know, maybe you're a little socially awkward.
I mean,
Maybe you just don't have a hobby that you can do with friends, or maybe that they're like, open your mind, try something.
get into bowling.
You could get into bowling.
I need
Get
to
into
get him
playing.
back.
Get into playing pool.
If I can get 3 comments that you were going to get into bowling, I can get this guy back into it. So, and he was one hell of a bowler. I would love to have him on my team next year.
Yeah, like, you get into like tabletop games, Magic the Gathering. Like, hell, you could probably even play Pokemon or Yu-Gi-Oh. Like, find something that forces you to go out and be around people to play,
We're trying to help people here.
because you will notice a huge, like, you can gain friends. You go out, you play Magic against people, you get into talking, you figure out that you both like the same anime, you both like the same series, you both like the same movies, and then you build this friendship, and now you're hosting your own, you know, Commander night at your house with these people that you met through playing this game, and you have this group that makes you feel better about the day-to-day.
You make a great point. Don't say Yu-Gi-Oh.
I mean, pick something that you want to play or you want to do, something that involves being around people, and just go and do it, and just be around people. Give them a chance to.
Be present.
Don't judge them based off of what they wear. Don't judge based off of how they look. Don't judge them based off of how they, you know, act. Give them a chance. Talk to them. Get to know them. Because when you sit down at the end of the day, or you sit down on a Friday night and you're like, I wish I could just sit down and play a game with a couple of buddies at my house and have a couple of beers, maybe order dinner, and just chill. Talk about the week, whatever. And you get a chance to do that, it will make your entire week and the stress of it very minimal. You don't have to you won't have the time to sit there and reflect on it. You know what I mean?
Maybe don't judge them at all.
I mean, yeah. That's even better.
Be present in the moment.
Be present.
Be with other people.
Yeah.
Like,
put this thing in your pocket.
I'm not playing Magic.
I'm not telling you to play.
Well,
Well,
you just did.
you should play Magic. But
No, I'm not playing Magic. I'm not doing that. I don't have the patience for that.
yeah, like, just, you know, we sat down here for 2 hours, and
Three.
well, the amount of time.
Oh, you don't mean tonight?
the amount of time that we played games. We've been down here for, 2 hours and 40-something minutes. So we've been down here for about 2 hours and some change
I'm surprised you're alive tomorrow.
playing games. And we had fun.
Oh, yeah.
We had fun sitting down playing Tecmo Bowl. We were, carrying on, insulting people, assaulting each other. We played NCAA. We had a blast playing that.
Run, bitch!
Imagine if you just had that we have it once a week because we do this podcast. But just imagine, you had a stressful week and you have something to look forward to with your friends, whether it's Saturday night, Sunday night, Friday night, or Thursday night, whatever your schedule is. Just imagine if you had that to look forward to, because that's something we have. We have every week. We know that we're going to get together and we're going to talk about we're going to sit down, we're going to play a game, and we're going to talk about a game.
They know this.
So
they tune in every week.
Yeah. So
I'm buying an extendo for next week.
So that's
I can just
that's
show
it.
up when it's time and just be like, "Ruh." Run, bitch.
So get together, play some games. Co-op should never die,
Wake her up.
and we're Dad's Game Room.